name is Reverend Birgit Gaudreau, and today we're going to study Exodus chapter 23, part 2.
Verse 19. The first of the firstfruits of your land you shall bring into the house of the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk.
Now, cooking the young goat in mother's milk was a rebellious pagan practice which God strongly disagreed with, because God provided the mother's milk to nourish the young goat, not to be boiled and cooked in it.
Verse 20 to 22. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Do not provoke him, for he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him. But if you indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries.
As we know, when we live a God-fearing life, that our enemies become God's enemies. That means God is going to protect us from our enemies.
Verse 23 and 24. For my angel will go before you and bring you into the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off, and you shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but you shall utterly throw over them and completely break down their sacred pillars.
Now, God always wants his people to worship him the right way. What is the right way? Is worshiping God in holiness. Even today, it is important to God that we worship him in all holiness and not go to a church that is worshiping like they're at a rock concert, which is no holiness at all. It is just glorifying themselves and not God.
Verse 25 and 26. So you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you. No one shall suffer miscarriage or be barren in your land. I will fulfill the number of your days.
God had a really hard time with the children of Israel. Over and over again, they were going towards idols and pagan practices, and God has provided everything for them and now promised them this land if they would only trust God and not worry too much about what is going on in that land, especially the Hivites and the Canaanites. Here God is saying they're going to turn their back on you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to send pestilence and they will flee. This land is for you, my children of Israel. But we know down the road that when it was time to go into this land, that they were afraid. And so they were disobedient. And then years later, wandering in the desert.
Verse 27 and 28. I will send my fear before you. I will cause confusion among all the people to whom you come. And I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you. And I will send hornets before you, which shall drive out the Hivites and the Canaanites and the Hittites from before you.
Now here God is promising a land that has boundaries which goes to the river, which is the Euphrates River. And we know today that the Euphrates River is drying up, which is prophesied in the end days, last days. But this river at that time was a very important river for many kingdoms and nations.
Verse 31 to 33. And I will set your bounds from the Red Sea to the sea, Philistia, and from the desert to the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and you shall drive them out before you. You shall make no covenant with them, nor with their gods, They shall not dwell in your land, lest they make you sin against me. For if you serve their gods, it will surely be a snare to you.
As we see in this chapter, God is not always about encouragement, He's also about condemnation. He wants to remind His people that they need to obey His commandments and His laws and do things the way that is pleasing in God's sight, and not doing things in our own ways that glorifies ourselves. God is always true and faithful, and some of us had that experience that our prayers are answered and that He's our provider and He's always there for us. And there's always a condition to that, and that condition is to be faithful to Him. So that was a lesson for today, and I want to thank you all for joining me. If you enjoy these Bible studies, please subscribe. That really helps me out a lot. Put a like up there too. And I want to say blessings to you all until the next time.